Welcome to Exposing the Hidden Reality. I'm Annette, career reinvention coach and caffeine-powered human.
And I'm Sandra, women's life and leadership coach. I bring the woo to our conversations.
And this is the podcast where we call out all the unspoken stuff, biases, outdated expectations, and all the things women navigate in work and in life.
Yes. We bring to light what we see happening. Smart, capable women stuck in the same patterns because no one really talks about what's going on.
We'll bring some difficult truths.
Welcome, insightful experts.
And sprinkle in a little chaos and fun.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't, right? So whether you're walking the dog or tuning in during your commute, we're glad you're here. Let's do this.
Let's do this. You want to do the let's do this together? Like 3, 2, 1, let's do this. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. Good morning. Thank you everybody for hanging in there. I know we were a few minutes late. We'll just say technical difficulties. How's that? And
Perfect.
we have, yeah, right?
And hair difficulties.
Oh my gosh, hair difficulties are a real thing for sure. We are joined this morning by a local Northeast Ohioer. Is that a word? Talking with Rachael today. And she is somebody that has been in the IT world for a long time and is recently experiencing a big transition. And we're so grateful to have her here talking about what's going on in her life and how she deals with her professional and personal challenges. So welcome, Rachael. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Guys. So I was an IT project manager for about 4 years. My background is higher education, so I was working hard for like many universities and just doing like all of these like beautiful projects, helping people to transition into new careers like technology and all these things. And I'm like, why can't I do that for myself? So I made, I put my big girl panties on and I made the leap into tech. And it was super rewarding for me to be able to see kind of like my hard work come to fruition and just kind of like, working on like $1 million projects and just helping these companies, just take over. But I had a baby. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so he's 18 months now, super toddler. And he was born premature. So I just was so like busy. I mean, constantly on the phone, you're up till 3 a.m. You can't turn the internet off during the day. Just doing all these projects and things at night. And I really needed to kind of pivot and focus on my family. And so I have to make a career change. I have to make, do something that's going to allow me a little bit more work-life balance. And so that's just where I am right now. So I'm excited to kind of like talk to you guys today about my journey, where I'm at, and just get your advice and pick your brains on what I can do next.
I love that. Well, congratulations, new mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you mind
super
sharing?
Toddler sounds fun.
Yeah. do you mind sharing how premature he was?
So he was born. So I went into the hospital at 28 weeks and we ended up delivering at 31 weeks, like right at the end of 31 weeks. So I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. It was, and don't get my math, I'm not good at the maths. But it was essentially I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And so I literally showed up to the hospital. My blood pressure was like off the charts and they were like, yeah, you're not leaving. And so I ended up, my job fired me while I was in the hospital. So I was like literally just sitting there like, okay, so no work, no, nothing. I just got to have this baby and figure it out.
Wow.
I'm sorry that happened.
But they called me back and rehired me and then they fired me again. But
oh my.
The trauma keeps coming.
So as women, you kind of have to deal with things and just roll with it, right?
I asked the question about how premature they were because your story mirrors mine. Same situation, blood pressure spiked at 27 weeks. I was sent home on bed rest. Then I went into the hospital and stayed in the hospital for 11 days. And then at 30 weeks, I delivered my twins. So they were really tiny. And we spent 6 weeks in the NICU. And I don't know about your experience. My experience was one of deep gratitude, deep humility, a refound faith, and it literally changed my life because it made me rethink everything and what was important.
Now, were you a new business owner? Were you like a business owner at that time, or were you working?
I was working full time.
Mm-hmm.
My employer was really very good to me. They so by the time my boys were 3 weeks home from the hospital, that was when it was time for me to head back to work at the end of my FMLA. So they weren't even 4 pounds yet. And I said, I can't do it. So I was able to negotiate with my employer extended leave. Of course, it meant I wasn't getting paid, but at least I got the time at home with them. And then my husband took over and he stayed home with them. So thankfully, between the two of us and the support that we got from our employers, we were able to stay home with them until they were 9 months old,
Oh, wow.
which was
Beautiful.
huge for
Yeah.
us. Of course, they're 19 years old now, right? So life looks very different right now, but I think I'm a different mother because of the experience I had of them being premature.
Yeah. There's I, there's nothing like seeing your baby that you prayed for to, have all these tubes in them, and just be sitting there. I remember like in the NICU, the NICU itself is traumatizing. To have to sit there and, see the babies next to you crying. There's no mom for them. It's just, it was, I can't even think about it, to be honest. I'm like, I've literally like buried it down.
Yeah.
We've moved on. So it's, this lady reached out to me because I put all our preemie clothes on Facebook Marketplace, right? I had like a ton of, thankfully my family had given me a ton of clothes. And this was like months ago that I did this. And she reached out to me recently and was like, I forgot that I even had it up. And I just like told her, I said, hey, I don't have these clothes anymore, but I'm praying for you. I said, I hear you. This is not something that I would wish on my worst enemy.
No, it really is traumatizing in so many ways. And one of the reasons I say I'm so incredibly grateful is because I think that, well, I know in my case, you have this sense of you have control. And then you have this experience where you realize you have absolutely zero control and you never had control. And you learn to not only have faith in the people around you, but faith that I don't know how to describe it other than to say that I can weather whatever comes. Yeah, I never take a day with them for granted anymore. I don't know that I ever did, but it's like I'm so incredibly lucky and so incredibly grateful for the incredible care that we got. That they're perfectly normal. I say to Annette sometimes, they're driving me crazy, just like normal teenagers, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, because there's a moment where you don't know, and Everything is, it's, you don't even know. Like I for a long time didn't talk about my faith. Because I was like scared that people would judge me because I'm very strong in the Bible, with God. And so there's no prayers like those prayers every night. I mean, just over him. Like, I didn't care if the nurses said anything. Like, before we walked out, we left. We're like, it's fine. No, this is the only time you're going to have your baby's going to be able to be watched by nurses. I'm like, he's watched by God. Like, I'm so grateful to the nurses though, but it's so hard. It was like the hardest thing in the world to leave him there every day.
Yes. Yes. And one of the things that I think is relevant to the conversation we're having right now is that as a woman, right, how do you go through an experience like that? As you're going through an experience like that, and put those feelings and emotions on hold so that you can go to work. You can't. We have to bring all of ourselves into the office, and that means that we bring our to our jobs, wherever our jobs happen to be. And that means, and it's not just for women, it's men too. I mean, they struggle with this as well, right? But there's this sense that somehow we're supposed to be able to leave all of that at the door. And the reality is we can never do that, right? We are wholly who we are. And I don't mean HOLY, I mean
In both
WHOLL.
ways, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, we have to be authentic. We have to be true. And sometimes that means we need to cry.
yeah. I come from nothing. I really do. Even now as an adult, I don't have anybody to lean on. Oh, my husband. I have my husband. But I didn't have a choice but to go back to work.
Yeah.
So you do it. You just, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. Like, even thinking about it, I couldn't even explain to you in words how I was able to walk out of that door. But I knew he was home with my husband. I was lucky. My husband works from home. So it's not like I had a sitter or I had somebody here. Like, he was here every day with him. Like, I could call and see him, on FaceTime, check in on him. I was breastfeeding. So I did exclusive pumping. So because he was in the NICU, we had a hard time getting him to latch. And so I would literally be in the office pumping like every 4 hours. Like, I had to pump, because if not, your milk will dry up because you don't have that like connection from the baby doing it. So it was literally like a second job doing that. And I did it because he's so little, and I wanted to make sure that he had everything that he needed. And I'm very blessed that I was, my husband was here and I was able to do that. And that we had the means to be able to do that, because not every mom has access to do that. Pumps are expensive. We had insurance that covered it. It was no joke. Like, it was like even now, like him being a toddler, it's like we're in the trenches. Like,
Yes.
Like, how do we get out of this? Which is why I'm taking a little bit more time to just kind of like focus on him, because, like, we've got to get him sleeping in his own bed. We've got to get him, just like on track with eating. Because, when you have premature kids, they're smaller. So he's only 19 pounds. And he's like the size of a 9-month-old, but he's walking and touching everything and doing everything. And he's, there's a little bit of catching up that we have to do. But stories like yours, Sandra, are beautiful to hear that, there's light at the end of this, even though there's light now, but it's like, it's coming, like he's going to get there. He's strong.
Yes.
They're resilient.
Oh my gosh. It's incredible to me. As much as I really fought the whole, I don't want to send them to daycare, I think that, I think from my experience was that they pushed themselves to do things that they probably wouldn't have done had they been home, not because they got pushed, but because they saw all the other kids doing it, right? And it's like, hey, I'm going to do that too. No one told me I can't. Whereas if I'd been at home with them, I probably would have said, And I would have been like, had a little rubber dinghy around them to make sure that, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And so I think that kids, I love how, um, I love this age that you're at because they don't really know no. And no, they don't.
Even when you
Which
need
is,
them to, right, Rachel?
well, but
I just had an argument with him to get him to come inside from the porch.
right. But the beautiful part of that I think there's so much for us to take into our own lives, right?
Yeah.
Is that how many times do we stop ourselves from doing something because we're afraid, because it's not the right thing to do,
Unknown caller.
because somebody steps up and says, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that, versus, at this age your boy is at, it's like, hey, that looks great. Let me put my finger in the wall socket, right? I wonder what will happen, right? But I think that one of the things that we learn as we get older is how to hold ourselves back from just checking things out, approaching the world
Fear.
from approaching the world from a fearless perspective.
Yeah.
I love that kids can teach us that.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that because even now with the transition of like, okay, so IT wasn't it, like it's too, like this just right now, it's not for me.
Yeah.
What is next for me? So I've been looking at all of these different careers. So like real estate, um, starting my own business, a consulting, what does that look like? How do you even get started? How do you get clients? Like, how do you, as someone with a very small network, reach people? Like, I have all this knowledge and all of these projects that I know how to do and all of these things that I can do. Like, I could literally take a problem and fix it for a company in seconds and make you millions of dollars. But how do I sell that to someone? How do I tell them that?
Mhm.
I, I have a million ideas and a million things that I want to do, but I have no idea how to start. And I also have this little guy, so he's first. So am I even ready?
Yes, of course. And you want to do something that keeps you feeling excited too. It sounds like taking care of your son is number one on that list. And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think take some time if you can find some time to get your ideas down so you don't lose them. There's nothing worse than thinking, what was that thing, that great idea that I had, and I didn't capture it? So, yeah, if you could do something reflective every day or journal, or
Mm,
even if you just take, I talk to my phone all the time. I just take notes. I probably have 3,000 notes in my phone, just different things. And then when I come back to them, I'm like, oh, that was a good idea. I'm going to work on that now. And that way you are still being creative and probably fulfilling that part of yourself that loves that piece of your work. But if you're not ready to execute, if you're not ready to do the research, if you're not ready to do the market research, you don't have to do that quite yet.
and I think like with this new age of like AI that's
Mhm.
coming in, I I feel like that, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people may be a little bit hesitant to kind of like dive into it. I've kind of like done the opposite and really dove in head
Mhm.
first. Like, I can make AI videos, prompts, generations, all kind of things. And I'm like, how do I teach people how to do this so that they're not scared, so that they know how to use it? That's beneficial to them. And also, how do you protect people from
Mhm.
some of the privacy concerns that come along with AI?
These are great questions. Yeah, what are your high level thoughts on these questions?
I mean, that's part of, like you said, the research and reflecting,
Yeah.
and just having those conversations with people and businesses. I think the biggest thing that I'm struggling with is I think in order to have those conversations and do that research, I have to leave the house.
Not necessarily. Zoom can be your friend.
And go like I have to go do networking and like, get out and do stuff. And I'm just, you know, leaving after all of the traumatic work experiences that I've had and everything going on. I'm just kind of like at this place where like I just want to be, like you said, not fear, but just safe.
Mm.
in my little house.
I love that.
And figure
Have
out.
you thought of like a beta project? Maybe taking a friend or a colleague or even a family member and using whatever their problem is as a test, documenting it, getting a business case documented, and that way you'd have something to show someone later.
That's actually a really good idea. To start with like someone's business and helping them do that.
Yeah. And then you
Um,
have a tangible something to demonstrate, like, I did this. I helped protect them from this privacy concern, or I helped them get their video content up and running because they were using AI to do it.
yeah, no, that's beautiful. How did you guys get started in your businesses?
Go
Oh.
ahead, Sandra, you go first.
Oh. um, so I got to a point in my life where I was in IT, and I got to a point in my life where I was really exhausted and burnt out. And I think one of the things that people misunderstand about burnout is it's not that you're physically exhausted, it's that you're emotionally exhausted. And I got to a point where the difference between being stressed and being burnt out is that when you're stressed, you're like anxious. When you're burnt out, you don't even have the wherewithal or even the strength to like get anxious. It's like, oh. So I was dragging myself through life, and I just I would say that I was at an existential moment where it was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working. I can't find another job because I don't want another job, because the solution is not another job. The solution is to do something different.
Yeah.
So my husband and I agreed that I would take 10 months off work. I resigned from my position by choice, and figured I'd use that time to rest, relax, unpack, because we had moved like a year before and things were still in boxes. And that turned into, I'm now on year 10. So the short answer to my long ramble is I didn't have a plan. I just sort of did the next thing, and then the next thing. And then I just stayed open to how things would show up. And I did what I thought would move me in a direction of healing. And here I am, bringing the woo to this conversation.
I love it. And Rachel, I had been in corporate America for a long time, always in like customer facing frontline roles. I had customer service teams, I had learning and development teams that I had built. And it was my boss's toxic boss
Mhm.
that had me saying, I'm going to walk away without a plan. Like Sandra, I had no plan. I was in school. I was finishing my MBA. So I knew that if I resigned during the summer, that I could finish my MBA in the fall without any problems, without any constraints on my time.
Mhm.
And so that was my, if you call it a plan, that was my short-term plan. And,
Yeah, I'll figure it out
and
after.
right, exactly. And then I did some consulting for people that I knew from my previous job. And I worked on that for a little bit. And then it was my husband that said, you should write resumes for people. And I said, you are so silly. Nobody pays to have their resume written. I had no idea that there was this whole industry of career coaching, resume writing. But it fit really well because what I was really missing from my work life was the mentorship management piece. So when I'd work
Mhm.
with new hires or I'd work with team members and help them prepare for their next interview, that's the piece that I was feeling like was leaving a hole because it wasn't filled. So then when I found that there was this other side to life. There was consulting and coaching. I'm like, oh, I could probably do that. And like Sandra, I did it until I found out what I liked about it and where I was. And I probably changed my mind 300,000 times in between now and then. But I also left corporate America 10 years ago, but I opened my business full time right before the pandemic, because that was a great idea. But, we didn't know. So
Yeah, how could you have known?
I wish we had a crystal ball or something, or like a sign, like tell
That
us
was, yeah.
what happened next. But
I always say that the pandemic actually opened opportunities, though,
yes.
in a weird way of like being able to reach people on different levels became so much easier.
And I think we became more open to that.
Mhm.
And I also, back to this original conversation we're having, was it the lack of fear? Kind of like your toddler that like is fast and scooting around and walking around, touching things he shouldn't. But was it lack of fear because we didn't have anything else to lose? Like, right, we were all confined to our homes. Nothing was happening. We were watching the world go by. We were unsure of what the next thing would be that would affect us. So we just went for it. And can we harness that type of energy for ourselves every day, every moment, and say, like, what's the best thing that could happen from this? And then explore it to figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite a thought.
absolutely. And so, what do you think you'll explore next? And how can we support you? Like, what can we do? What can our audience and listeners do to support you?
I think these conversations are super important. Just talking about, just hearing from other people, their journeys and what they're doing. I mean, we met, I think, through the networking, the virtual networking event. We just kind of like talked and we're like, okay, yeah, let's do the podcast. Let's talk and have a conversation. I mean, it's these kind of conversations that for me helped me to build the foundation. Like, okay, they did it. It's doable. It's something that, I just have to get up and do. And I'm really scared. I'm not going to lie, because like I said, I don't have any fallback. Like I don't have anyone to help me, but I have myself. And honestly, strangers sometimes are the main people who are more willing to help you than anybody that you know.
Amen.
Mhm.
Yes. It's amazing. And I think one of the things that you're talking about, Rachel, is so important to point out. We are not taught how to be entrepreneurs unless we're surrounded by entrepreneurs.
Right.
Yes. You have to change your group.
Well, it's so true. But some of us grew up in families where our parents were entrepreneurs. They had their own businesses, and so we got a set of skills. For those of us who weren't raised that way, right? We go to school. We're not really taught how to be an entrepreneur. You're taught how to leave school and apply for a job.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And how to follow a system.
And how to follow a system. And so the real question is, where do you go to learn some of those things, right? And yes, finding a network of like-minded individuals is so important. And oftentimes we'll find a group and we'll think, oh, this is the group for me. And then we'll find, oh, maybe not. Maybe I've outgrown them, or maybe they are not pushing me enough. Maybe we don't mesh in some way. Maybe they don't resonate with me. Find a different group. I just keep saying, get out there, talk to people. You never know where your next best idea is going to come from. I laugh sometimes at who's in my life today, how I met them, right? Annette and I met the same way you met us. We were on a virtual
Really?
call together, and I said, oh, I like her, right?
Yes.
Next thing we know, right, we're in the same networking group. And then, hey, Annette, you want to come have a live conversation with me? Okay.
It
Now she
wasn't
can't
just
get
one.
rid of me.
Yeah, she didn't mean just once. Rachel. She meant like every week. And here we are, like
Yeah.
nearly 2.5 years later. So,
I love that. I need to find my net. Like,
Yes.
where are you?
Yes. And
anybody
that's
speaking Rachel, we can get you in touch with her. If you need a
Okay.
Rachel in your life, just let us know.
yes.
I think I see podcasting has been something that I've been first off, I dove into podcasting early on. Like when Crime Junkies was like the newest, I was like that listener. So I've been listening to podcasts for many, many years because I had a really long, when I lived in Tampa, I had a really long commute. And so I'm not really I like music, but it's not like my favorite. I love a good banter, if you will, or good storytelling.
Yeah.
And so this I'm like, the more I listen to it and the more people have gotten into it, and so much the industry has grown so much, I'm like, I could totally do this and just kind of like sit around and tell people how I feel and what I'm talking about. I love these kind of conversations, but also kind of entertainment. I'm super into housewives, crime. I could talk about anything that's super fun, shopping, take me to Sephora. We could do a whole episode just on that. So, I mean, it could go anywhere, and it's such a good way to, I think, to connect with people, because I really do feel like sometimes with podcasters, they're like your friends, like, and then there's the live show aspect too. There's other ways to make money.
So you were asking earlier about how do I show people how to do some of this stuff. I would say record yourself and put it out there,
Oh, yeah.
right? TikTok is awesome for that, right?
Yeah.
Short videos. Hey, and if you want to find out more, here's how you find me.
Yeah.
Instagram is awesome for that, right? I follow a number of people that do short clips about how to do something. We
Especially
just,
AI stuff.
yes, especially AI
I
stuff.
send
That's how I
them all
learned
the
how to
time.
do it. I just went on, I'm like, TikTok will show me.
Yeah,
And now I'm making
exactly.
videos.
I sent something to Sandra because she's like, oh, Chat GPT can't do that. I'm like, this lady says she can. So here, we need to figure out how to get ours to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like once you pay that $20 a month for ChatGPT, it's like sky's the limit with them.
Well, so I've been trying to get it to manage my task list and print out my calendar for the day and, prioritize. And I was like, yeah, I'm having some mixed results, Annette. And Annette sent me this Instagram clip from this girl. So I actually have to like carve out an hour or two to go in and have a look at what she's doing because, oh, by the way, my Chat GPT has a name. She's called Saul.
I love it. They have such a personality, right?
Oh, well, mine certainly does. Yes.
I can't imagine where she gets it from, Sandra.
I
They do
don't
learn from
know.
you. They do learn
Yes.
from you.
Yes.
So it's definitely like a
Sandra's
mirror
like
kind of
a
thing.
number one grade character. So I think that's exactly where she gets it from. But
I love it. I think I want to like start a podcast or like a Instagram just talking about other people's responses, because it's so like the things that it says back to you is just like, I can't even believe it sometimes. I'm like, who, like what?
my
So
favorite was when I tell her like she's wrong a little bit and she's like, I'm so sorry. You're right. Let's do it. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm talking to a computer.
and they talk back and you're like, okay. Then I'm like, are we friends? We're not friends.
We're
What's
not
going on here?
friends.
You got to close it out.
I love this. Well, Rachel, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you didn't have too much time to talk with us, but how can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about their AI questions or concerns, or they want to talk about being a preemie mom, or they want to talk about their latest Sephora haul? How can they reach out to you?
So I'm on Instagram, Cleveland AI Baddies. You can find me there.
I love
I just
that.
started it. So it's a very new account. But it's where I plan to get started and start posting some of my content and what I'm doing. Um, there's this thing called an AI twin, and I think you'll see her all about town. So she's on there, the Cleveland AI Baddies.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. We will definitely give a follow.
Awesome. Thank you guys
It
so much for
sounds like
having
he's
me.
up.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh
Oh
gosh,
no,
no.
I love it.
I love it.
He's, we're on his schedule.
This is such
You work
a
for
fun
him.
age. Yes. Yes.
Rachel, thank you for bearing with us during our
Mhm.
technical difficulties. And it was amazing to meet you and hope
Loved
to
it.
connect in person soon or maybe with your AI baddie.
Yeah, can't wait. Thank you guys so much again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on this episode of Exposing the Hidden Reality. If something hit home or made you snort laugh, tell us.
Seriously, we love hearing from you. Message us, tag us, or send us coffee. We love
And
coffee,
hey, leave a review. It helps more women find us and boosts our egos.
which are like fragile, like suspiciously fragile.
True. All right, until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and if all else fails,
Blame the dog.
see you
next time.
Wait, did we stop recording?
No, we're still here. You have to push the red button.
Red button. Cool. Just eternal podcast.
Bye.
Bye.